Welcome to our referee advanced video. Before you continue, even if you're a seasoned referee, we recommend you first watch the referee basics video in this CSFOA YouTube channel. It covers foundational knowledge for all referees, especially those working middle school, freshman, and junior varsity contests. You'll learn essential mechanics, penalty reporting, game flow, and how to lead a crew with confidence. We think the referee basics video is required viewing for every official who puts on the white hat, regardless of level. Here are the topics you'll find in the referee basics video. As you can imagine, the referee basics video is longer than the advanced video. It's almost an hour in duration. We won't cover these topics in detail in this video. So if you haven't yet watched the basics video, please pause this one and find the basics video in the CSFOA YouTube channel. The referee advanced video is much shorter and builds on what you've learned in the basics video. It adds key components specific to varsity level contests, like locker room leadership, crew mindset, radio use, and 5-person mechanics. Please start by watching Referee Basics, even if you're a seasoned official. It will reinforce your foundation. Then, if you lead varsity crews, continue with Referee Advanced to sharpen your leadership and crew management. These videos are designed to be watched, paused, and reviewed as needed. Take notes, ask questions, and most of all, prepare to lead. Let's continue with the Referee Advanced video. I think a good white hat has to have a confident mindset. We need to make sure when we step on the field, we feel prepared and we exude that confidence. You also need to remember that we learn best by making mistakes. I've made every mistake as a white hat that could be made. That's how we learn. We are the leader of the crew, even if the crew chief is on the game. So if you're the white hat and you're in charge of the crew, I don't like the saying, fake it till you make it. I think the saying should be work hard until you make it. You've earned the right to step on the field. You've earned the right to be there because you have exhibited high will, high skill. I also believe a good white hat is going to set a good example. We dress well. Our uniforms look good. We have the confidence. We don't goof around in the locker room. We don't goof around on the field. Other crew members can watch us and say that's what right looks like. The concept of psychological safety is if we have to debrief, we'll talk about debrief at halftime or after the game. It's good that the white hat will lead off with a statement saying, in that second quarter on that play, I was out of position, or I rushed with penalty enforcement. And saying, I made a mistake helps the other crew members say, well, I can also be involved in a good, effective debrief. Because if everybody's guarded, we have our walls up, we can't have a good debrief and we can't communicate well. You don't belong on the field as a white hat if you're unwilling to study the rules. So this is June 10th, and our first game is going to be the last week of August. There's plenty of time to get into the rule book and start studying. You may not be the primary white hat for your crew. You're going to have to study the referee position and your primary position as well. One of the things that and I'm going to say Mark Van Gampler quite a few times tonight. I would watch him as a wing and I would soak in how he moved and his physical posture. He's relaxed and confident. He would hustle, but not appear frantic. We want to be deliberate and relaxed. But in our being deliberate, we don't want to appear lazy either. We shouldn't walk slowly. If we need to speak to a coach, don't walk across the whole width of the field. Run to the coach. And then hustle to our ready for play position when appropriate. So if we go to talk to the coach and say you're out of timeouts, then when we're done, we hustle to our ready for play position and not walk and make everybody wait. I'm big on crew concept, and this is something that the referee must insist on. We're not 5 different individuals. We're going to respect each other. We're going to trust each other. We're loyal. I think we need to act as a family with a positive environment instead of saying, well, you made a mistake, I'm going to call you out. That's just not healthy. I'm retired military. As an officer, we were taught to trust our NCOs, our non-commissioned officers. If you are a white hat and you've got a veteran official on the sideline, don't be dogmatic and draconian and say, no, I'm the white hat, I need to bow up, I need to prove to you that I'm in charge. As a brand new white hat, one of the most difficult lessons that I had to learn was not to shift my focus when a quarterback threw the ball downfield. Many times you'll hear the roar of the crowd, there'll be a big cheer, and you have no idea what happened. We need to discipline ourselves to keep our eyes on the quarterback, protect the quarterback at all costs, and not look downfield as soon as the ball is thrown. And there are some cases, depending on who's on the crew, where we need to ask more direct questions because something doesn't smell right, and we have to ask a bunch of questions to make sure we're adjudicating the play properly. If you are the white hat and you're trusting your crew, but let's say the run is to your side and you can see the block ahead and it's not a block in the back, which is one of the most common incorrectly called fouls, you need to make a decision. Do I go with the flag even though I don't agree with it, or do I wave it off? We don't want to have crew conflicts, and everybody has a full page of stories about arguments on and off the field. We don't want to reveal disagreements to coaches, players, and fans. So as the white hat, you need to shut that down. And I've still heard stories of crew members that say, we disagree, I'm not going to do it your way, and then we have conflict. Hopefully you don't have that issue. We want to arrive at the locker room no later than 1.5 hours before kickoff. Don't be the one who's late. I like to, on my crew, if you're going to be 5 minutes late, you text me. If you know that somebody is habitually late, reach out to that person. You don't want to be sitting around at 6 o'clock when you're supposed to be going on the field at 6:30. Have a good pregame. We have a good 1 hour pregame. We're going to walk onto the field 30 minutes before kickoff. I highly recommend radios. I bought my own radios as a crew chief. If you don't have radios, you can buy 5 of them and 5 earpieces for when you're a white hat. Or if your crew chief has them, you can borrow them. Ryan, you're a pilot. If you want to step up and talk about radio discipline, please feel free to start talking.
Radio discipline is a really important thing, and it's very good to be formal on the radios. What I dislike about the radios right now is there isn't really any standard procedures for it. So a lot of the times you don't know who's talking. There's never any type of systematic routine of what's said and what isn't said. And I think all those things are worth discussing. I know there's a chapter in the mechanics manual now that addresses a little bit, but I think it'd be nice if we got to the point, in the crew brief to say, this is what I would like to hear routinely, and then people get into the mindset of, I'm expecting to hear this, and when I don't, I need to look into something a little bit more. And plus, it's a very good way to get everybody refocused on something. When something really weird happens and everything, I think the radios are a good opportunity to say, all right, that fight's over. Where are we? Everybody's on the same sheet of music. This is going to be third down. We're going there. I think it can be very helpful that way.
It's important to note folks can listen to our channel. Remain professional. I don't like a lot of chatter. Some back judges on radios would mention down distance on every down. I don't like that. I like to communicate only important information. Back judge goal line, wing goal line. If there's a foul, we use the radio to explain to the opposite wing so he can communicate with the coach. Reminder, pinch hard, we're close to the goal line or line to gain. When there is a field goal attempt, I always like to get on the radio and say no whistle here, no whistle. And if the wing has to talk to the umpire and say, can you please get 76 back? Or if the umpire has to talk to the wing and say, please let the coach know that 68 is starting to lose his cool, and just let him know.
One thing we used to have, especially when you had a lot of planes involved together in a formation, something was we called knock it off. There was certain phrases that once somebody said that on the radio, everybody shut up, that it was something significant. Everybody else stopped talking and listened to what was going on. So I think maybe in the crew brief, that would be a good thing to hit. When I say knock it off, clear the radios. We've got something important that needs to be addressed right now. So
if there is a flag on the field or national anthem, I think we need to show proper respect, which means be completely still, not swaying back and forth, hand over the heart, or if a person's former military, they may salute. If there are colors on the field at the last note of the national anthem, half the crowd are going to put their hats back on, half the crowd are going to sit down, and we're standing completely still on the field. We haven't moved. And the crowd sees what we're doing, and they stand back up and take their hats off again. When we talk about the colors being retired, that means the colors leave the field. As soon as the colors leave the field, then we can put our hats back on. I like bomb bursting from the huddle. I think it looks good. So we get together, we say 1, 2, 3 stripes or whatever. I always like to say one more positive word. I'll make eye contact with the other four officials and say, I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm really excited about this game. We have a good crew, or something like that, to provide one more positive word to the crew. And then 1, 2, 3 stripes, and then we hustle to our position. So as the white hat, you're going to be running 50 yards from midfield to the goal line. For a field goal or a try, please make sure you look in our mechanics manual. The mechanics manual says we face the holder. We are even with the holder and wide. I like to be out to the numbers. It's my pylon. The wing that is facing the holder is under the uprights. The mechanics manual says we can move a little bit more into the backfield if we need to get a better look at our keys, and make sure you hustle if there's a fire. Hustle to the pylon. Remember that holder cannot have the ball, have his knee on the ground, and then toss it to a player. If that's the case, the ball is immediately dead at the spot of the holder. We want to look at the near tackle at the snap. Even though we're going to be focusing on holder kicker, it's a good idea to look at the near tackle and the blocker that's in the backfield right beside the tackle. In our mechanics manual with 5 officials, we don't assign that blocker to anybody. I like to look at that blocker who's legally in the backfield, standing to the left or right and a little bit behind the tackle. At the snap, if that blocker goes low, that's a foul for blocking below the waist. That player is not a lineman. You're responsible for the kicker and the holder. Don't peek at the kick. Discipline yourself to not know what happens. In our mechanics manual, we will turn around and give the signal. When the kick has gone off, we close down on the pile. We watch the players separate. We all know this is a perfect opportunity for players to jaw at each other, push, shove. We want to be there when that happens. If it is a field goal, I like to get on the radio and say, hold your whistle. We don't want an inadvertent whistle when a ball is blocked, the defense picks it up and they're running in, and we have an inadvertent whistle because somebody thought it was a try. We all know post-game, hustle off the field, don't walk. Hustle off until you're at least past the end zone. And then as a referee, you must submit a CHSAA game report. Get the link from your crew chief. It's important to spell, have correct grammar, don't be too wordy. Randy sees them all, Kaylinda sees them all, George sees them all, CHSAA sees them all, CFOA sees them all, and the coaches will see them. Don't be a Neanderthal. Use ChatGPT if you have to. Don't accuse. Be honest about what the crew did. If you screwed something up, it's better to be honest. The coach may send a note to CHSAA, or there may be some kind of a report. And if you don't put it in your game report, then you look like you're trying to hide something. Make sure you forward that report to your crew chief so your crew chief can see it. If George calls the crew chief on the phone and says, what happened last night, and you as the white hat didn't tell your crew chief, that's bad. If you don't put something in the game report, let's say it's a conflict in the locker room, there was some unusual situation that happened, you did not put it in the game report, it's always a good idea to tell your crew chief. Tell your crew chief what happened so your crew chief is not taken by surprise.
When you were talking about some of the clock management things and keeping your back or not turning your back to the play when you're blowing ready for play, there was a couple of things where I remembered. So, having your umpire helping you with clock management, knowing the disposition of the play or the ball. Hey, we're inbounds. We're on the ready, or we're on the clock is always a good thing to help, so that you don't have to ask again or look back and look at the status of the clock. That's one thing. And then the other thing is just that the line judge has the responsibility to glance over as well and make sure that we're either running or not running on the clock.
Good point, David. And I know that you are a great umpire, and that's a good point, is a good umpire and a good back judge. You're in the line of sight with the referee and giving the status of the clock. Hey, was that an incomplete pass? Did the ball end up in the end zone?
You shouldn't know because you're not looking down there.
Yep. Good points. Thank you.
Hey, Mark, can you talk just a little bit about the coordination with game management for things like weather or coaches' decisions not to continue the game? I mean, what really is your role in that?
That's a great question. I know we have a new lightning policy
where they shorten the distance from the actual lightning. So if the weather is bad, that's part of the pregame. It's imperative to ask the head coach, where's the game manager? Make sure you talk to the game manager, and hopefully a good game manager is going to approach you. Talk to the game manager and say, who's got the lightning detector? How are you going to communicate with us? Most of the time that game manager say, if you have an issue, go to the wing. The wing has a radio. The wing will radio me immediately if we need to shut it down. So that's a great point. Make sure we have the game manager. We know where he or she is going to be. Do they have a lightning detector, and how are they going to communicate? For the cold weather, CHSAA has a policy. We don't want to shut the game down. That we had a really bad situation at Callahan High School versus Buellton a couple of years ago, and the referee shut the game down when he thought it was too cold. That's another, in my opinion, game management decision. So even though the white hat has the jurisdiction, quote unquote, of the game, include the game management, include the coaches. Did I answer the question properly?
Yeah. No, I mean, regardless of what the rules and stuff say, it seems that people look to the white hat for the final decisions, even though that may not be their purview.
Right.
Especially at sub-varsity games where there's more junior people around, they're looking to you to make a decision. I didn't know where the line was. I guess CHSAA's policy obviously is the starting point for it, and then coach, there's always the option to terminate games early if both coaches agree to that, right?
Yes, and that is in the rule book.
Yeah.
The rule book does say that you can terminate the game early at the agreement of both coaches. And we've all seen that, where especially with the 6 and 8 man or a smaller 1A, 2A school where they just don't have enough players, and the coach calls knock it off and says, we're done. I would recommend that you look on the Art of Officiating website. I don't get any money. I actually spend a lot of money every month out of my own pocket to operate that site. So I'm not trying to get money. But there are fouls in their descriptions that as a white hat, I think it might be useful for you to look at. And then there is a referee lesson, and you'll notice some of the slides are going to be common, but I would say have the mindset right now that you are going to prepare yourself to be a 5A state championship white hat this season. Don't go into the season thinking to yourself, I don't have what it takes. Knowing the rules is 99% of the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk on the field, know the rules and study them and spend time tonight looking at the rules. Be ready the end of August. And then I would also recommend you reach out to your crew chief and say, what do you plan on using? How do you plan on using me this year? I think I'm ready. And if you say I'm ready for 3A, you say I'm ready for 4A, have a conversation with your crew chief and let your crew chief know that you have the confidence and you're developing yourself to work at that level.
This is a good place to do the shameless plug for the Reading Guide. Updated one. I had one for 10 years, and I finally said, man, I need to get a new one of these and mark them up a little bit. But the rule books are great, but this is even better.
As we wrap up this referee advanced video, you may have noticed that some topics felt a bit disjointed or seemed to skip over a lot of content. That's intentional. Much of the foundational content, especially game mechanics and baseline referee responsibilities, was covered in the referee basics video. This advanced module was designed to build on that material, not repeat it. So if you haven't already, please make sure to watch the referee basics video as well. Together, the two to provide the complete picture of what it means to lead as the referee.